I had a wonderful, great dream, one of the big dreams of my life, where I found the bell of the Virgin Mary. And a basilica had been prepared to house this bell when it would be found. The basilica had been there for centuries, waiting for the bell. And a priest was always on duty to accept the bell when it came. There had been generations of priests sitting there sleepily, hoping that maybe the bell would come during their time. And I wander into the church, sleepy summer day, and wake the priest up and say, "Here it is." So between us, we hoisted up and put it on the hook. Everybody knew the exact size and dimensions of the bell, so the alcove was made and the hook was there to accept it. And the great bells in the West Towers, which had never sounded, were to be rung and let the world know when the bell of the Virgin Mary had come. So the priest went dashing off down the long nave of the basilica to ring the bells, and I was sitting there. Now what do I do? If I wait, I'll have great fame. I might even get to be Pope, because I brought the bell of the Virgin Mary in. And I think fast and furiously what to do, because I have to make up my mind. And while there's still time before the crowds of people come, I decide I'm going to duck out the side door of the church. The big bells are ringing now, and floods of people coming down to see if it's really true that the bell of the Virgin Mary has arrived. And I'm going off feeling pretty lonely against the crowd, going the opposite direction. Well, that dream outlines what one individual can do with romanticism. He can put it back on the hook in the basilica, which is to say, to return it to a place commensurate with its power. There's nothing to do with one's capacity for romanticism, but to restore it to one's religious life, whatever that means to that individual. It came from one's religious life, and it has to go back to the religious life. That's the only thing that can contain it, the only thing that can hold it. Christianity would be a good container for the wine. It could adequately be held in the Catholic Church. There is the tabernacle, and there is the chalice to hold it, and all of the paraphernalia of the Catholic Church is a suitable container for the bell of the Virgin Mary, or the wine which the witch queen gave.
So in terms of my everyday life, that you could say it's almost a direct result of my lack of conviction.
That's right. Lack of your religious life. And if I were to wind you up and give you a big pep talk and take you by the hand and take you over to the nearest Catholic church and put you down and say, "Now there is the answer," I know better, because you wouldn't do it. I had a terrible experience once in Los Angeles. I got myself wound up and decided I'm going to put this aching, throbbing, super personal, intractable capacity of mine of falling in love back into the church, which is such a good idea. Well, I chose the most beautiful Catholic church in Los Angeles. The Doheny royal family had built an exact copy of a great church in Seville in Spain on Adams Avenue in Los Angeles. And the sculptures were so fine, and the stonework was excellent, and the great soaring Spanish Gothic, which thrills me. So this day I crept into the church, my heart pounding, and I waited. I went purposefully on a weekday when there would be the fewest people there, and I waited till there was no one in the church, and so then I went over and put myself down on my knees before the statue of the Virgin Mary, which is a particularly lovely one. And was doing pretty well with pouring my heart out to her, when I noticed that her halo was a neon tube, and that finished it. I walked out of the church and I said, no, I can't do it. I've no easy statement for anybody, me included, of what it means to have a religious life at the end of the 20th century. If Catholicism can hold it, God bless you. I don't know how to go any farther than that. I feel that I live an adequate religious life myself, which I'm not going to talk about personally. And that's where the divine wine lives for me, and it lives happily and it lives successfully now. Getting old helped, for one thing. Any relationship which is based on projection of the animus and or the anima is the romantic idiom. The animus and the anima are super-personal figures, and they don't make good human relationships. That's what we do that gets off track so easily. One has to accept one's anima or animus in the way that Jung always defined them, as the intermediaries between the personality and the collective unconscious, not the intermediaries between the personality and some other individual or some objective matter. I think if I could shout loud enough and say one single thing to a human being, it would be, keep your animus or your anima on the level which is commensurate with its nature, that is, its interior nature. The animus or the anima is the intermediary between the person and the collective unconscious. It's not the intermediary between you and me, or the out there.